Hello, good day to all of you. Today, in the sharing session of research methodology, already I have uploaded 3 videos sharing about the research topic. Uh, and now today, I would like to share about the research philosophy. Research philosophy, what is it and all? I am Professor T.P. Upadhyay from Lumbini Baniji campus, one of the best community campus in Nepal. And the University Grants Commission of Nepal has accredited thrice the only campus to get the award with 3 consecutive times uh, QAA in Nepal. So it is located in Lumbini province, Rupandehi district, Butwal sub metropolitan city, and it is affiliated with Tribhuvan University, the largest university in Nepal. Now, my concern is what is research philosophy? Okay, let's take one very simple example. Who is the best teacher in the college? Imagine 3 students are asked, who is the best teacher in your class? And in a survey, Jack, one of the students, stated that Dr. Amar is the best teacher because he explains everything very clearly. Similar question asked to the Rahim, another student, and Rahim said that in his view, Dr. Binita is the best teacher because she gives us practical knowledge. It's Rahim's view. And student third, that is Ram, and stated that he said that I think Dr. Chinmoy is the best because he treats every student equally. Now the question arises. Now connect it to the research philosophy. Okay, suppose you want to research which teacher is the most effective one. One researcher, after conducting the research, said that the best teacher is one whose students obtain highest examination score. It's one conclusion by the researcher. Okay, another researcher concluded that the best teacher is the one whose students feel motivated and satisfied. And third researcher concluded that the best teacher is the one who develops students' confidence, creativity, and ethical behavior. All three are studying the same issue, but they understand effective teaching differently. Now the question arises, which one is the truth or the reality? Let us try to explain it through the simple definition of research philosophy. Research philosophy is the fundamental way of thinking, belief, or perspective through which a researcher views the world, truth, knowledge, and the process of conducting research. In simple words, research philosophy is the way a researcher thinks about the question, what is truth and how can we know that truth? Then why we have to study the research philosophy? What is the need of research philosophy? In this question, let us consider some situation. Before starting a researcher has to make several decisions. Say that what is the truth? How can knowledge be obtained? Which method could be used, should be used? Does the researcher personal views influence the research? Research philosophy guides all these decisions, forming the foundation of research. Therefore, we have to study the research philosophy and before conducting research. The main pillar of research philosophy, that is, they are known as the pillar. That is, first one is ontology, concept of existence, the reality; epistemology, concept of knowledge, how we obtain the knowledge; axiology, concept of values; and methodology, way of conducting the research; and logic, the process of reasoning. Okay. Now, the question arises here, why are some companies successful? Okay. What is the real reason of company successful? So let's take one example, and this we are associated with the ontology. What is the reality? Example, a common question we have taken here. A company asked 20 employees about their job satisfaction level. 10 said that they are satisfied, okay, and 10 said they are not satisfied. So now the question arises, are employees actually satisfied or not? There is a two perspective in ontology. There is one single truth, okay, and every person has their own truth. So let us take one example of the Mount Everest. Okay, Mount Everest ontology, that is Mount Everest is existed in Nepal. Okay, so this is the ontology. Physical existence is there, and epistemologically we can obtain the knowledge that what is the height of the Mount Everest. With scientific scaling, we can count its, I mean, the height and all these things. And the third one, culturally, people believe that Mount Everest, that is regarded as a Sagar Matha in Nepali, I mean, culture, it is a sign of pride. It is associated with the culture and divine. Well, so the truth is different according to the person and as per the reality. Okay, so we can say that the truth can be multiple, and it could be physically and spiritually, or some other ways truth can be different, and it is ontology. That is what is reality. There is not one reality. The reality could be different in different situation. Epistemology, so it is the method of obtaining the knowledge. Well, epistemology, that is how can we know that, or how we can obtain the knowledge. Well, does increasing salary increase employee performance? So now to obtain this knowledge, whether salary increment increase the performance of the employees, we can go with a survey of 500 employees and take some statistical packages and analyze the data. You come to the know that you can come with some knowledge. Okay, you can construct a knowledge that increasing salary increase the employee performance. Or there is another approach. In a qualitative approach, you can go with the in-depth interview of 20 employees or more than that employees or less than that employees and understand their experience. And you can conclude that salary increment improves the employee performance. Well, and axiology. Axiology means researcher bias. Okay. Does the researcher views influence the research? Okay, let's take one example. A researcher believes corporate social responsibility is a good thing. This belief may influence the research. Okay. And believing on this belief, a researcher started a research of some industry where the whole industry and the unit of the industry are doing well in the CSR. But the researcher, based on his belief that the companies which are doing well, good in CSR are also very good in other aspect. So there is a bias. Okay. So researcher values, okay, could also influence the research conclusion and finding. Well, and you can take another example also. So let's take one example of our education pattern and system and evaluation pattern. Well, the professors are examining the answer script of the student. Some professors believe that if the student is writing exactly what is available in the text, they are the most, I mean, this intellectual student, and they should get a higher grade. And depending on that one, that professor is complying with his values, okay, and giving the higher marks or higher grade to the student who has written exactly what is available in the text. But the question arises, if a student has stated, written the Newton's law, now, when the student is being asked, how will you apply the Newton's law in your life and how would you apply it? If the student is not able to give the answer practically, then what is the meaning of this belief? Okay. Therefore, researcher value base, okay, researcher values may influence the research, and this is known as the one of the pillar of the research philosophy, that is axiology. Now, another one is methodology. In methodology, conducting a research is not a single way. We use survey method for conducting the research. Okay, for the qualitative research process, you can go with the in-depth interview and all. If things are not so easily, this surveyable, and it is not so easily interview is possible. You can go with the observation, rigorous observation, and you can go with the experimental research design where intervention is needed. And you can go with the focus group discussion, and you can use the mixed method, that is a qualitative and quantitative. Both method can be used, okay, to conduct the research. So therefore, there is a one issue business example. Why are some customers using the online banking? To get the answer of this question, to get the solution of this issue, you can use a questionnaire, interviews, or both. That is a qualitative and quantitative approach can be followed over here. The logic is a process of reasoning. Another, this foundation of philosophy. Well, in a reasoning, there is a deduction, induction, and abduction process. Well, in deduction process, we take the theory which has already been propounded by the authority, and we change the context in the ground, and we apply the theory in this new ground, and we are trying to add some value to the theory. Okay, this is called deduction. Okay, that is from general to, that is from theory to and testing and adding value to the theory. And in case of induction, first of all, researcher collect the facts from the grounds, and he observe or she observes the patterns and observe the different patterns, analyze them, and at last he or she, build a theory. Okay, so for the deduction, test if motivated employees perform better. This is one theory. In induction, you can interview 50 successful people and find out the patterns and how people become successful. But abduction is a search for explanation. Well, high salary, but employees still living. The company is giving high salary, but company is providing huge amount as a salary and other benefit, but there is a high turnover ratio. Okay, why? It needs explanation. Let's take one example. A tea shop keeper in Thamel in Kathmandu, he found that in the last this week, his sales has dropped by 30%. Okay, and the possible explanation is that new competition is there, by new entry is there. Okay, next one of the most influencer wrote a bad review about, and third one, okay, and the people who took tea from that stall, they are suffering from some unexpected diseases and something else. And another could be that the researcher, the shopkeeper found that there was a protest near the tea stall and on that road, and because of that one, the sales of his tea cups was dropped by 30%. He believed on that, and now he got his own explanation. Okay, now he wanted to conduct a research on that one. He conducted the research and come to the conclusion that why his tea sales has been dropped by 30% in the last 2 weeks. Okay, now quick reference, remember. So what is reality? That is called ontology. How his knowledge is obtained, that is associated with the epistemology. Axiology is concerned with the value and how the value could influence the research. Methodology shows that there are different methods of conducting the research, and logic, there are different reasoning, inductive, deductive, and abduction for conducting the research. So research philosophy is the foundation of any research. The 5-pillar guide all the research decision. Different philosophies suit different business problems. Modern research increasingly combines multiple approaches, ethics and transparency are now essential. So thank you. This is the first part of research philosophy, and today's sharing is concerned with the pillar of the research philosophy. Thank you.